You're at mountain bikes and you just bought yourself the new DJI Osmo Action 6 that was released today. You want to show the shots to your family, to your friends, but your shots look like this. Here is how I set up my Osmo 6 and where I mounted to get crispy shots with natural motion blur that look amazing. If you couldn't care less about camera settings, then this video is not for you. Set the Osmo 6 to auto, colors to auto, exposure to auto, everything to automatic, and it will get pretty insane shots already out of the box. But you're not here for average shots, are you? So let's get cracking and I'll show you how to get amazing shots. First of all, I would recommend you to just try out settings yourself. Go over the camera, try out everything, do tests, compare tests, get to know your camera, because that's gonna come in handy in the future. When you're out in the trail, you have everything set up perfect, but the exposure is not right, the aperture is not right, the colors are just a bit off. When you know how to adjust them on the fly, that's gonna be worth a lot. So get your camera, mount it to whatever mount you already have on your helmet and go riding. Film a bit. And then come back to this video and try out the settings I'm gonna tell you to try, and then you can compare. Here's where I usually mount my cameras. For social media, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube Shorts, I mount it under the visor, directly to the visor, or on the helmet surface. I use the DJI chin mount to mount it directly to the chin. It's just a clamp you put on, stays secure, and then mount it underneath the chin mount. This can also be used for the horizontal shots for YouTube. I prefer my YouTube shots, my horizontal shots, to be deeper down than on the visor, because that way the further down your camera is, the more you can tilt it forward and the more you're gonna see that's coming towards the camera. If it's too far up, the camera is gonna be tilted down. You'll be able to see a couple of meters in front of the bike, but not more than that. Chin, horizontal, vertical, visor, horizontal. And then my favorite mount for YouTube shots is the DJI Osmo chest mount. This thing is incredible. You can rotate the mount 180 degrees depending on which direction you want to shoot. So there's no need to be unscrewing this mount, flipping it 180 degrees, trying to fiddle around and get the perfect angle. You can just flip around, perfect. And for really cool and creative shots, you have two mounting options, the front plate as well as the back plate. So you can just mount this on the back plate and film your buddy following you around. Now, for those of you that ride with an open face helmet, this is a bit trickier because there's less area touching your head. The helmet is automatically a bit less stable as soon as there's weight on it. So I have two options that I really like and would advise you guys to also try them out. And they are, if you have a helmet in which you can flip up the visor and create more space underneath the visor, you can put a sticky pad onto the helmet itself, so it's not on the visor, because you can imagine this flexing plus the amount of the camera flexing plus the weight of the camera, that's gonna be shaky as. So flip the visor up, mount a sticky pad to the underside of the helmet, but on the helmet, and then you can mount the camera however you like in here. Back to what I was saying on the full face helmet, I don't like the horizontal shots underneath the visor, so I'd advise you to use this for vertical shots. For horizontal shots, either the chest mount, or what I really love is one of these surf mounts. You can get vertical as well as horizontal shots with this, and then it's perfectly stable. You can still breathe. If you open your mouth, the camera stays there because you have a little indentation here for your teeth. And if you crash, one, you're gonna have bigger problems than your camera in the mouth, because you're probably just gonna throw it out anyways, automatically. And two, either way, it doesn't matter where your camera is. If you crash, you're probably gonna scratch a lens, break a lens, which is super cool. On the Action cameras, you can just twist it out and buy yourself a new lens. As for the angles, I like to mount my cameras so that you can see a bit of the bike, but not too much, as well as the trail coming in front of you, and if there's someone riding in front of you, that person as well. But that's something you'll have to decide for yourself. Try an angle, film, get down to the trail, look at the video, too deep, too high, adjust it accordingly, do a second run, and just go back and forth until you get it right. Now here's a pro tip. I love to get myself a white paint marker and draw a line as soon as I get that perfect angle. And this way, if you end up twisting the mount, taking it completely apart for travel purposes or whatever, you crash, you know exactly how to adjust it back to that line, so you got the perfect shot again. So you don't have to, every time you go riding, fiddle around. You know exactly where the marker is and how to set up the camera without having to film, stop, look, adjust, and repeat. If you're liking the video, please leave a like, subscribe, toggle on the notification button, and comment, is the video good, is the video bad? You like this kind of format? Let me know. Now, for the settings, I love to film using ND filters. You get perfectly smooth motion blur, natural motion blur out of the camera, none of that post-production added motion blur BS. It looks amazing, and the colors pop a bit more. It just looks good. But for that, the light has to be good. So here's how I go about it. Turn on your camera, go over to settings, set it to Pro. Now on the exposure page, you'll set your shutter to 1/60. Then you take your ND filter. I normally start with an 8, put it over the lens, and then you'll have to adjust the ISO accordingly to the lighting on the day you're filming. Try to set exposure so that it's not overexposed nor underexposed. It's okay if the sky is a bit overexposed. You're never gonna get a perfect sky with a perfect floor, at least exposure-wise. So I like to set it so that the sky is a tiny bit overexposed, like you would with your eyes. You're walking around during the day, you see the floor, but you can't see the sky perfectly. If you go up, your eyes are gonna adjust, and then you can see the sky clearly. But then the floor is gonna be underexposed. So same goes with the camera. You're gonna set your ISO, preferably at a fixed number. So I start low with 2 or 4 or 800 ISO, and then adjust accordingly until it's exposed right. Now I'm indoors, so it's telling me 12,800 ISO, but that's gonna be super grainy. Now that you've set the ISO as well as the shutter speed, you're gonna go over to aperture, and you wanna set your aperture to f4. Now the Osmo 6 is the first Osmo camera to be able to do this. You can set between 2.6 and 4, so it has a variable aperture. 4 is gonna probably get you the best action shots, in my opinion. And as soon as you've set that to 4, you're gonna notice the exposure went down again. So I'm gonna go back in and readjust that to the next stop, so it's properly exposed again. You might encounter that on a semi-cloudy day, riding in the forest with bright and dark spots, the exposure will be underexposed at some parts and overexposed in some parts. On those situations, I like to go over to exposure and then set the ISO to auto, but if you scroll all the way up, you can set a minimum and a maximum ISO. So I try to get the shortest range possible, so if it works 100 to 800, or if it needs to be 100 to 1006, and maximum 100 to 3200, and if you really have to, 100 to 6400. But that one's already pretty grainy. I'm gonna blend in some videos I shot with this setting on, and it's not the best. You might as well just take the ND filter off, set everything to auto. You're probably gonna get crispier shots than using the ND filter, so I wouldn't even bother. And yeah, those are the settings I always use as long as the light conditions are good and it's not raining, because as soon as it's raining, the ND filter doesn't look good, everything looks smushed. If it's raining and you really want to film, I would recommend you to get yourself a FOV boost lens. This gives you a bit of a bigger field of view, and that kind of overcompensates for the droplets of water. You can see more around it, so one drop of mud or water, it's not going to completely destroy the shot, but it's still a rainy day. So as for the quality, I always set my camera to 4K 16:9. If I'm not sure what I'm going to use the shot for, I'll go to 4:3. That gives me the whole size of the sensor, and I can crop in later, so adjust a bit up, a bit down. But normally I do 16:9 and 30 FPS. Our eyes see between 30 and 60 FPS. Normally when you're going super fast, a 30 FPS shot is going to give you a bit more motion blur and a bit of a bigger sense of speed. If you go to 60 FPS, you'll of course get better slow-mo, but don't forget to readjust the shutter speed to double of what the FPS is. So if you got 30 FPS, 1/60. If you got 60 FPS, 1/120. Like I said in the beginning, if you don't like faffing around and readjusting ISO, readjusting shutter speeds, readjusting a lot of things while you're riding, don't even bother. You can even use the ND filter. It gives a bit of a prettier color, I'd say. I like it a bit better. But just put everything to auto, press the button when you start riding, press the button when you get to the bottom, and you're gonna be happy with those results. Action cameras these days, especially this one, I was really impressed with the quality of this one. Comparing to the old Osmo 5, this one's really good. If you bought a set of ND filters, you're gonna receive 3 ND filters. You'll have 1, 16 and 32. I almost always use ND filter 8. Rarely I'll use 16, and I don't think I've ever used the 32 in my life on an action camera. Now you've got a setup that you like, you've got the perfect angle, you've marked it with a white marker so you can't lose it. You have the perfect settings, your shots look amazing, you show it to your friends and family and you're frothing about it. And then you go to upload them on YouTube. Perfect. You go to upload it as a short, you go to upload it on Instagram, to TikTok, and it looks off. You filmed with such a good quality and it just looks off. What are you doing wrong? There are a couple of settings you can readjust on TikTok and on Instagram as well as YouTube to get the best quality possible. I'm gonna blend in a video of me readjusting those settings. That's a big one. If you don't do that, you're always gonna get bad quality videos once you upload them. And the second point you have to do is, once you've exported the 4K footage out of your camera, don't directly upload them to Instagram, TikTok. Either you download them as a 1080p video out of the Mimo app, or if you wanna edit on CapCut, on other apps, put the 4K video into CapCut, do all the editing you want, and when you go to export it in 1080p 30 FPS. Never as a 4K. Instagram and TikTok both don't accept 4K. They will compress it down to 1080, but their compression is bad. So always remember to export it as a 1080p video and then you upload it to YouTube Shorts, Instagram, TikTok. And now put your camera on your helmet. Don't forget to charge it. Put an SD card so you get more storage out of it, and go riding. And tag me on your videos. Tag me on Instagram. Let me see what you're filming, where you're going to, where you're getting, how the ND filter is going. I want to see it all. And now I want to throw it to you. What camera do you use? Do you use DJI? Do you use GoPro? Do you film with Insta360? What do you film? Are you going to use my settings for mountain biking? Or are you going to use my settings for rollerblading, for skating, for snowboarding, skiing? I want to know. I want to know what you guys do. Put it on the comment down below, and see you on the next one. Cheers.